Hey, Bri, doesn't it suck that the boss is always over our shoulder when we're trying to talk?
Jay, he should be entertained by us. Let's get out of here and finish this conversation.
All right, as long as it's not work related.
Jay,
B.
how's it going?
God, you're keeping me on my toes. Always keeping me on my toes.
Damn
I'm doing
right.
good, man.
I want to welcome everyone to the Work-Related Podcast.
We are related by work on Twitter and all the other ways. Feeling good to be here again, man. Bright and sunny days.
Yep. Barbecuing today?
Oh, you just like what? You seen the thought bubble?
Yeah.
I was just like staring out the window. The last thing I said before we pressed record.
Damn right.
I got gypped out on my barbecue yesterday because as soon as I said it, it started pouring down. It's been a fucking hot week.
Oh, God.
I hate really complaining about hotness because I hate the cold more.
Oh, yeah.
But like I've replaced all the pounds I should be losing with beers back at home after work. They're just too damn good looking when I come home.
Yeah, I hear that.
You don't. You're still on the not drinking train. A little bit. Not
it's
as
starting
much.
to come up now. It's really starting to crawl back.
You got out of it what you wanted to. Like I don't know. You were. I don't know what your whole reasons were. But you had reasons.
Yeah, I got out of it what I wanted to. But like, so this weekend, was this my birthday weekend? Yes, it was. So it was my birthday weekend, so I basically drank every day, right? And so one day, I can't remember if it was Sunday or Monday, there was a lot of alcohol going on.
Yep.
And that morning, I was throwing up the whole morning. And I just remember thinking to myself, this is one of the reasons why you cut back a lot instead of going crazy. And I was just there throwing up. I was like freaking feeling like crap. But I recovered enough to drink that night, so I was okay. I drank that night. I didn't throw up the next day, but I was just thinking like, yeah, this is why you don't drink that much.
You went for a good couple of months, right? Like you weren't even drinking up here. And I think you knew, like you had your birthday in mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like you had that party coming up, right? Like you knew you were going to be doing it up.
For sure.
And it's like, it's really hard in the summer. Not that we're getting sold on the beer ads.
Yeah.
We know what it tastes like.
Yeah, exactly.
We know. You can just.
We're already on our way this week. Like, relax.
Well, that's the same with the barbecue, and I'm looking at. I'm fucking sweating my ass off, and like, how can I make this my advantage? Oh man, hanging out in the barbecue or backyard.
Speaking of which, you missed out on the work barbecue today.
Yeah, because I don't work Fridays.
I
missed
know.
out on meetings that I had to do for
Don't you
safety.
feel bad that you want a barbecue, but you could get free barbecue at work right now?
Well, I don't know how serious to get into this. I don't miss it because I'm not jonesing for that socialness at work. Right? Like what makes fun for a big barbecue is like hanging out with people.
You don't like your work family?
No.
Oh
Not
yeah,
really.
I'm not there on Fridays.
Yeah,
That's
see,
true.
well, it gets less and less.
Yeah.
No, I can find friends. I could be like I can have it.
Sammy's not there this week.
But you have to go back to work. Like it sucks to fill yourself up, right?
True.
And have fucking again, not that you don't have to have a beer, but you're just like having water or whatever. But and also, even though it might look it, like I still watch what I eat. I hate wasting calories at work. The thought of having
for burgers,
yeah. Because I'm not going to enjoy it like I will the burger at home, right? Because it's the weekend if I'm going to have it there or whatever. It's like a party at work on Friday, but just I hate going back to work on the full belly. I'm not trying to just like the robot thing. I'm looking for the negative, right? Instead of just like the positive. I appreciate the whole party at the like them giving it to us. You know what I mean? Like the office, like organizing this stuff and the company or whatever. I like that part, but I just don't enjoy it as much as I can. And in a calorie counting point of view, if I've gone all week without having a beer or, you know what I mean, like watching what I'm eating, then I'm not going to waste thousands of calories on this good food, but not the greatest food.
No, it's not the greatest food, but it would be nicer. I do agree if they said 11 o'clock, end of day, that's it. Barbecue for the end of the day. Don't send me back to work.
That's what I mean. Like I'm not trying to poke holes in the fun, but that's what I think of. It makes me less engaged to do it. Yeah. Right, because it's as good as it is. It's just like but now I have to. Now the day becomes regular again.
Yeah,
right. Like it's wrong maybe to look. You don't have that even keel like I have. you know I live in the fucking peaks and valleys.
Yeah,
You fucking
I
saw
do.
me so mad.
Why were you mad this week?
I thought we were.
Jay,
We talked
I
about
was
so
like,
much.
I came around the corner. This was the second day of this situation. I came around the corner. I was timid this time. I'm like, holy shit.
Sorry,
I'm like,
man.
wait a minute. Let me see. And then it was okay.
Probably only okay on Thursday.
Yeah,
I don't
it
even
was
know
okay
what
on
Monday,
Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday were like.
Wednesday was rough.
Oh, Monday was a holiday. Well, so my week fucking started off
Wait,
horribly.
before you go in there, I just want you to know I don't take any offense to anything you say or how
That's
you
why we're
manage
here.
your stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just
know you
there for
don't.
the moment. I'm there for the moment. That moment's the past now.
What do you mean?
It's gone.
Oh, I
It
know. I don't even think
happened.
you thought anything at the time.
No, I didn't think anything.
None of it was
just,
personal.
I mean, I kind of thought it was a little funny. I think I laughed
Yeah, it
a
was
little
over
bit.
the top.
It was. I laughed a little bit. But
I
you
get
know.
it. Well, that's just my honest relationship with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know you're going to be coming eventually, like to see me or whatever when it's time, and I had to leave
Whether
early.
you're happy or not,
Whether I'm happy or not, like it doesn't matter. You don't know.
I don't
like
care.
that's you. Like
I don't care.
I hate that I do that to you, and not just you personally, but I can do like everybody. I guess like they
Yeah.
don't know what version they're gonna get. Like that's like it's the shitty part of I guess living with somebody who has such fucking peaks and valleys.
Mm-hmm.
But like nobody wants to live with a boring flat line.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's why I
Exactly,
guess
Jay.
you'll take the peaks if the valleys come.
Damn right.
But you just look at it like what more personal, like, oh, I've seen this before, like
Yeah.
whatever the difference is. But yeah, like I instantly know I'm wrong for being like that. Like I don't wish to be like that. Like I want to be true to myself.
Yeah, but you're
And so I'm
allowed
living in
to
those
be,
moments.
exactly.
And it really has nothing to do with how my whole week was going. I was just frustrated. And I think the heat has shit to do with it. Like I'm fucking sweating my ass
God.
off, right? And doing some good work. Like I liked what I was building with, something that the robots can't take over yet.
Yep.
Right. And I was just living my best self I could be at work. And then I come up to some stuff that's not thought out very well. And I've had to deal with the designers for so long. And even when I have to do it, I can just pawn it off to Marcel now. You know what I mean? Like, hey, figure this out and do it. But my wish to get it done properly and right, and when it gets hit with when I get stonewalled for something else, it looks like I take it personally, but I really get frustrated.
Yeah.
And my frustration when it comes to dealing with people, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know how to deal with people at the best, but at sometimes
In the moment,
sometimes. Like I can, depending on what the moment is, but
I
when it
think
comes
you
to
can
work,
if you're prepared.
but it comes to work stuff, like my expectations of other people. We were talking last week about expectations and stuff. That's my fault for like whatever, like expecting them to know how this door goes on the back.
But I don't blame you for that because it's a slight tangent because I feel like at our work, they expect so much from our side. And I just feel like nobody else we get that expectation from anybody else. Like we can't get the same level of the same quality of shit from the designers and the laser that we want, that they expect from us when it comes out the shop.
That's a very personal look at it. And
it's annoying.
Everything I'm saying, I agree with you, but then you are just looking at it in our little bubble.
Yeah.
Right? Like
that's all
your
that
expectations,
matters.
because when you tell me about what you think their expectations of you, of how the whole night shift is run, I try to like talk you off of that ledge and just say, no, that's all in your head. But you know whatever truth to it. You know what I mean? Because you've been in meetings talking about other people's expectations.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, you come across here and say, I don't know if they like it or not. And we talk about, well, you'll know when they don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't expect that pat on the back. But that's why I would never be in the finishing department. Because when I was a kid, because they don't know why it's not done yet. And you're like, well, I got to do touch-up paint here. This nut was stripped. This fucking lazy welder never did all this and that. And imagine having to explain yourself over and over again. And I think the best employees, that's what Sammy might be able to do. He could be frustrated about things and do but if Sammy said this is done, then they can trust that it's done. Mm-hmm. And if they're saying, wow, I wonder why it's not done, they're not good. I don't know how it works with him, but he's probably going to be just as frustrated. How come they keep coming every hour and asking me when it's going to be done? They should know it's going to be done when it is.
Yeah.
And that's just them justifying their job in a way. Like, the real important person is the Sammy in this situation that's doing the hard work to finish it. That's looking at all the corners to making sure, that's why I would never do that. Mm-hmm. So I think my perceived expectation of everybody else is more than I might have to prove. But that's only when I calm down. Not when I'm living in the moment.
I was about to say.
No, that's only now, and like I'm fucking away from the situation.
Yeah.
It's come and gone, and I've already seen my wrong in it. right? Like how my week started. I have to see my wrong and what I did that time.
Well, it was a build-up. So tell us about your week,
No.
Jay.
I just want to finish this work thing. So that's just a.
Oh, you're still on the work thing?
No. I don't. Well, okay.
Come on, Jay. Tell us what happened. You already told me.
I smashed Elmo. Elmo is broken.
So if you guys don't know who Elmo is
Tammy's Jeep.
It's Tammy's brand new shiny Jeep that the kids always look out the door for. Oh, where is she coming? Jay smashed it.
Oh my God. Don't think she's not going to cry a little bit when she hears that fucking comment. She still wants to listen to me talk. It was an accident.
Yep.
It was last Sunday. We had a long weekend. Like, it was a super long weekend for us. And it was just a Sunday afternoon. We had to do some chores and shit. We had to do a little bit of extra. She said I didn't have to go. She had to do like a little bit of shopping. Then she had to go to her work to just check in on he was cat sitting for like one of her like friends it's gone away, whatever. And so she's like, I don't want to drag you all the way up there. And I go, well, I'm just going to be sitting here worried about you anyway, right? Like, I'm just like going to be waiting for you to come home. Like, I can.
Worried about her driving?
Maybe, yeah. Making sure she got safe, like protecting my wife. Don't want to fucking just have her out there willy nilly with, all those fucking assholes out there on the road. So I and for company, just up by herself, right? I was just been sitting there waiting with her, like waiting for her to come home to start my day.
For sure.
But she said, no, don't do it. And I was like, no, I want to be there for you, babe. So we did all of our shit, and we were out for about over like an hour 20 minutes, and we're on our way home. We're just driving down like a 4-lane road, but whatever, 2 lanes going west.
And this is the Sunday.
This is Sunday. It was raining out a bit, and everybody, like we've talked about before, everybody thinks they're a great driver, so I think I'm the best driver in the world, and love Elmo. Elmo's great driver, and so it's great driving the Jeep, and so I only really drive it on the weekends because she has it all during the week. So we're on our way on the road going to the house. We might even just be picking up some fucking fast food on our way home when we get closer to the house. And so I'm coming up to an intersection, and there's a car in front of me, and I'm in the right-hand lane. And in the left lane, like the 2 lanes we have, there's another car as well, in hindsight, just looking. And the car in front of me indicates that he's going to turn right at the next intersection. And because I'm in such a hurry, I'm like, oh, and just like, again, it's all automatic when you're driving. Just like, okay, I can get into the left. There's nobody beside me. I'm just going to get to the left lane so I can go through the intersection. So I go to do that, right? And again, this guy indicated so far enough for me that I should have got into the left lane before. I don't know if the car beside me had to go by. Anyway, by the time I turn into the left lane, we're really close to the intersection now. And the light turns yellow, and the car in front of me brakes. If I could blame anybody else but me, but it's all my fault, I would have gone through that light. Like, the reason why I was going at the speed I was, and when I turned and I didn't want to get stuck behind the cars, it's like, oh, we can go through. But he was far enough not at the intersection that he decided he could stop. So he's not in the wrong at all. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, it's hard. I mean, I asked you before, like, anybody who's been through an accident realizes how many things happen in a split second. So I see the yellow light, I see his brake lights, and I fucking press the brakes, and I start skidding. And I tried to turn right because now the right lane is clear. That guy's turned already, and he went through the intersection. But and I fucking don't get away enough. My driver's side corner hit his passenger side rear bumper, and so I pushed him into the intersection. Right, and then
so when he stopped, was he past like that?
He
line?
would not have stopped in the middle of the intersection. I don't know,
but would he have stopped further than you would have stopped normally?
I'm see, everything I'm going to sound is going to sound like I'm trying to blame somebody else.
Speak your truth.
The reason why I was going through the intersection still is if he even came to a complete stop and I was nowhere near him, I think he would have been like at the crosswalk.
Yeah, he
would have been one of those like screeching his brakes to stop into the intersection. Like, I don't know why he was in such a hurry not to stop. I've been in an accident, so like, I've been, the only time that it wasn't my fault when I got hit in the rear end is I stopped at a light, and this truck came, and I, like, again, this guy might swear too. I swear I stopped way before it was red, like I wasn't shorting a yellow, and he crushed me into the intersection, right, and just wrecked the whole back of my car, and I felt I was at a full complete stop, and he stopped. This guy might have said the same thing. He would have stopped at the big fat white line. Yeah. I find in this whole retelling of the story, he would have at least stopped like almost at the crosswalk, right? Like he would have like, he should have gone through, right? Like, so, but again, I was obviously going too fast, following too fucking close. Should have just let the guy turn right and then been stuck at the light because it would have turned yellow, and none of this my whole week would have been way better off. So anyway, so I fucking hit him, boom, oh my God, I'm in a fucking accident. Like it's not my whole world has changed, but my whole day has changed now.
Yeah. It's
right? I was just about to
trash.
go home, get high, so we go through the intersection now, right? Like I hit him and I pushed him now past the crosswalk. It's not a busy intersection, so nobody's like going left or right or whatever. And so we go through, he goes way ahead. Like I just go past the intersection and pull off like to the right. Cause now I'm almost more than half back into the right. Like another fucking 2 feet and I would have cleared him.
Damn.
Right? Like, cause it wasn't even the headlight never got smashed on like on the Jeep. It's only like the far like left of the bumper is pushed in towards the tire and then the marker light is smashed. And so I just clipped like 1.5 feet of his rear bumper. So if I was going a little bit less slower or turned into that fucking lane a little bit earlier, I might have been able to avoid it. So short story long, I'm on the other side of the intersection. He's way ahead and he comes backing up. And so as he's backing up, I realize it's a Mercedes. Now it's not a G-Wagon or not like that. Like it's.
Did you end up ever getting the model?
No, I don't know what the model is.
It's on your paperwork, Jay.
Sorry. Yeah, it might. Actually, I do. I probably could. It's on. I have his ownership in my phone.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because I had to do all the whole fucking reporting.
Well, I want to know.
After I stop talking, I might look.
Okay.
I don't. Does everybody have to know, or just you
Yes,
afterwards?
everybody has to know so they can know what level of Mercedes
if you can manage
you
to start,
destroyed.
if you can manage to keep talking for more than 2 minutes more than me, then I'll fucking start looking. But
I have something I need to say. So go ahead.
Do you want me to finish the rest of this accident part, or I've
Yeah,
obviously
I
gone
want
on
you to
too long?
finish the accident
So
part.
anyway, we go through the intersection. He backs up. He comes out of his car. He's limping.
Yeah.
When he gets out of his car, and I'm like, "What?" And he's like a slight, like he's like younger than me, but he's not younger by any point. And he's limping like the guy at work does.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know if it just happened and he's more sketched out than I am right now. Like he was very nice guy.
So age range.
I would say about 40.
White, black, Asian, brown.
Brown.
Okay.
Brown with an Indian accent.
Okay.
But like just like the skinnier booby, just a little bit taller, right? Like and like this like fucking clothes were like hanging off his like there was no aggressiveness from this guy at all. He didn't come out fucking screaming or shouting. He just came out, "Oh my, are you okay? Are you okay?" Like he was really nice.
Did it look like it was his car?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. Like he looked businessy. Like he looked like he should be driving a Mercedes. You know what I mean? Like he didn't look out of place or that kind. I don't know. But anyway, like, and he was like, "Are you okay?" Like he was real good. I'm like, right away, I'm so sorry I did this to you. Right? And he's like, "No, just good that." So we exchanged information. It was raining. It's raining on us while we're doing this.
Oh man,
I'm still in the fucking shock business. You know what I mean? And he's very shocked. He's like, and after we talked for like 10 minutes or whatever, he's like, "Okay, I think I'm coming. You know what I mean? I'm feeling good. Are you guys okay?" Like I could have asked for a more civil partner in this situation.
Was he by himself?
Yes, he was by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So we just exchanged information and then we went on our way.
Okay.
Then the more shit happened after that. But what I cut you off
I was
for?
gonna say so Jay has been asking me about my opinions on betting F1 this whole time, the past 2 weeks, right? So last week went okay. It was like so, right?
Your betting advice?
Yeah, my betting advice.
You were right 1 out of 4 things I asked you for. You were
The
right about
first
Alonso.
time? The first time.
Oh, the first time nothing was right.
Nothing was
right the first time.
I swear we got one right.
Last week, the only thing you got right was Alonso winning his group in the sprint race.
Okay. And then this week was a disaster.
Yes.
So last week I was stressed about it, but I got one right. So I was like, okay, that's not bad. Whatever. So this weekend I was like really stressing about it. And then it was like a whole like track limit stuff. And like it was chaos going on. And then Selena was continuously asking me about Jay taking my advice. I said, I don't know what he said. So Sunday in F1 is typically race day. So I was there watching the race, and I'm like, okay, the race was done. I said, everything's destroyed from what I can remember. Because you never told me, like, you told me the one bet, I saw the group, but the other bet, I didn't see any of the groups. You just told me who you picked. So I didn't know.
Oh, you couldn't remember the group? Oh, no, I thought I sent you pictures of the group.
That was for the first weekend. This
sorry.
weekend you didn't. So I was dying there. I'm just like,
oh my God.
I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, maybe he's in that group or that group.
No
I'm
wonder.
like, so I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And then Selena's like, what did Jay say? I said, I don't know. He's probably not awake yet. So then the whole day went by and you never messed up. I'm like, this guy is freaking, is he mad that I screwed up every bet? And I've just been trying to figure out. And then I came to work on Monday and you're like, man, and I'm like, fuck, here we go. I got in an accident. I'm like, Oh, well, that explains my mind is like, that explains I wasn't that worried.
Oh my God.
It.
So you were already timid coming to me on Tuesday. So we had Monday off. So Tuesday, all you're thinking about, this guy hasn't talked to me for 2 days now.
Yeah.
Because we were all talky on Saturday.
Yeah.
Going for the advice.
Yeah.
Saying this and that. The whole.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're up so much earlier than me, and these fucking races start at like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
6 and whatever they are. So I tell you no spoilers.
Yep.
And I'm scared to tell you no spoilers because that just makes me think you're gonna want to give spoilers. You're gonna want to tease. It's like I'm giving this guy a fucking lane to jump in. And so this I had the race taped yet. Like I haven't even watched it yet.
You still?
No, I have now.
Oh,
but
okay,
I'm going back to
okay.
my accident. I'm on my way home to get high and watch this race.
Yeah.
And I like F1 too, and I'm not saying I have to bet on something, but it makes it more interesting.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you hate it when people
raising my blood pressure.
You
Jay.
hate it when people like just say, "Oh, that was a shitty race because Verstappen came 30 seconds," but all the other things that go in involved. And when you bet on it, it gives you more reason to like get into it, right?
Yeah.
And so it helps me. And then this group betting thing is they're not having everybody against Verstappen, but they'll take four like-minded, you know what I mean, like competitive group
I like that.
teams, and you find that race. But so for the whole race, you're not even watching the cars. You end up watching the order of things, right?
Exactly.
See, like, oh my God, he's 1 second behind. Get up there, right?
Exactly.
But it brings you into the race more. And so I like that about you, like this whole new thing we're doing. So anyway, so I can't wait to go home to watch the race.
Yeah.
There's fucking like nothing to do, and so I get into the accident. My day's ruined. Tammy was like very kind to me. Like I said, I smashed her car, but she was depressed. This is oddly enough. The day Sunday, she spent trying to cheer me up. Like I go home and I'm like, I don't even want to get high. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm so sad. I'm like, so I got over it.
Okay.
I don't know how many seconds that lasted, but just like what am I supposed to do? Just like get my fucking drink on?
Yes.
Like start dancing?
Yeah.
Like what am I? And she's like, well, yeah, like it's over now. Like nobody got hurt. We have insurance, you know what I mean? Like everything is all fucking like hunky dory.
Yeah.
And so she was trying to talk me off of my depressed ledge, right? So I just watched the race like this, and then nothing came in. I didn't feel like talking to you, like not just you, but I just didn't feel like talking. Like I would have had to pretend the accident happened, or I would have had to go through text and tell you all this shit. Right? I'm just like I don't want to deal with it. So that's why I didn't talk to you.
You know I'm gonna see you on Tuesday.
But that's this. I get it. I feel for you. I didn't even think of that. I didn't think you cared that much about how your advice might affect my bets.
Jay, I already told you that at work when they do the 50-50 things, I can't even do it because I hate when I bet on something and I lose. And it's not even my money and my heart rate's going up like 10 beats per minute. So yeah, I was stressed out a little bit.
It's fun, and that's why yeah. Okay, anyway, that's what gambling can get a problem. Because if you have millions of dollars, you don't get excited about winning 100.
Oh yeah,
right.
True.
Like that's how people. That's why like gambling is a fucking drug.
So don't do that to me again, please.
Oh, you're doing. There's another race this weekend. You gotta fucking wait. Practice is boring to watch.
It is boring,
right? So, so qualifying. I'm going to wait till qualifying's done.
Yeah,
and then we're going to do this again.
Yeah, I watched.
You know what? That's going to be my Twitter posts. I got Lego shit to post if I want to, but I'm going to post what our bets are, your advice, and how they turned out.
No way! Don't do that.
You're going to block out what my fucking my accounts are, and we're not talking. So like in total, I bet like $30, which seems like a lot. You know what I think about that? And again, it's not like I don't want to lose $30, but if I had the one, like you know what I mean, like there's different ways. Like with the Alonso, as long as one of those 3 bets come in, then I might make my money back. If 2 of the 3 comes in, then I'll win a certain amount of money. If all 3, then I'm winning like $200.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I've gotten my like shit like that with football and other things. So, what was I gonna say? So I'm not gonna stop. Like it's not like it's like a gambling problem, but I think I'll let the people know what your advice was.
Oh my God.
With the groups, but yeah, you should just be confident in your bets. Don't be so. But it makes this is what I was gonna say. Sorry, it's not like I'm buying a ticket to watch the F1 or even paying for the app or the service, but $30 to be that involved in the race is nothing.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
worth it. It's not like I don't have to drive downtown to watch it. I don't have to sit in the concessions. Like I got everything else. It's almost like a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm willing to pay. Like you know, obviously that's an extreme amount. But so if you're watching a football game or a hockey game with the playoffs, it's like you know what? I'm going to bet $10 on this game.
Mm-hmm.
If I couldn't watch this game and I can only pay $10 to watch it, I might not do, but whatever, it's worth it. Like
it does. So it does make it a little more exciting.
It's not like a waste of money like that.
No, I don't think so.
You don't have to do it, but it's fun how much more it gets. I don't want to turn you into a fucking raging gambleaholic, but
it's hard because I really hate losing.
So
I really hate
that's
it.
funny. But maybe we'll get back to work. Fucking why I did. So that's why I didn't bring it up again.
Yeah.
I watched the race with a bit of a fucking sourpuss. I didn't really care. Like I went to, you know what I mean? Like the shine was off my weekend. Monday. And so we have to do all these fucking reports. We had to fucking get the insurance involved and all this. And because it was a holiday, everything was closed.
Yeah.
I knew that I was going to have to, this is like kind of new to me. I haven't been involved in an accident like this recently. We end up just taking pictures and the insurance gives them to the shop. And then the shop can make an estimate just from the pictures alone.
Did you guys get an estimate?
No, not from us, but they just know what it is.
Yeah.
And then the shop is supposed to call us to bring the car in. We don't just take the car down there and just wait for them. They haven't called back all week.
So you guys still have the cars at the shop?
No, our car's at home and we're told not to bring it there. Like we texted pictures on Sunday. I guess, I don't know who fucking, if they weren't open. So they got it. They got an estimate and they said, we'll let you know when you should bring your car in. And
so they're probably just ordering the parts and waiting for it to be there. Then
that's what I think too.
Yeah. So did you find out what this
GLC?
Oh, that's not horrible.
I know, but it's still
not
Mercedes.
cheap. It's not cheap, but it's not horrible.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a GLE or GLS.
Yeah, so he didn't have a limp from my hitting him or
No,
nothing.
absolutely not. And so you guys have to see the car every day in the garage?
Oh, so that's another thing.
Oh, man.
Not just me, but Tammy has to see the car every day. Like she just sent me a picture to just now before we started. She's out shopping and she's parked beside. She's like, I'm parked beside a pink Jeep with big fat tires because she gets jealous of the big fat rims and tires of other Jeeps.
Oh, she wants them?
Oh yeah, she wants them bad. And she's like looking at this fucking pink Jeep with tires right beside her. She's like, I got Jeep envy really bad.
Oh man.
I'm like, oh, and I'm trying to be funny but part of me, my heart's broken.
Yeah.
Like I broke her fucking pride and joy.
Yeah.
Like it's my fault, and she looks at it every day. She sees it. She's in it. Like we got the whole rental car thing done now. So this is kind of funny. So you have to like send in a report. Like I do everything on Sunday, like with the insurance, and Monday with the body shop, like the pictures and everything like that. And we get everything in order. So now we're just waiting for that. But you're supposed to go report this accident, right? Like go to a center or whatever, right? And you're supposed to take your car there too. The car, we got a rental car. The car is drivable, but like I said, the bumper's kind of pushed up against it. So I'm like, fuck, I got to just get this over with. So, but by Tuesday, we haven't had the rental car yet because everything is closed. So Tuesday we had to logistically work, like go to work, then meet up, drive together to the rental car to pick up the rental car so we can bring the rental car home and like one of our other cars, right? Like there's no other way to get there.
Yep.
So we had to do the logistics of that. So I had to leave early because the place closed at 5, right? And then so what else do I got to do? I got to go to the accident report center. That closes at 6, but they said they're not going to take anybody before 5:30. So I'm like, okay, well I got to get off work at 4 to go do all these things. Mm-hmm. So you come in, that's where you come in, and you come in to me on Tuesday. And so my mind has been thinking about this all day. You're fucking, now in hindsight, like you're worried that I'm mad at you for your fucking stupid bed advice, which is ridiculous.
Well, at that point, I thought you were going to give me shit. So
that's funny. So you're trepidatious about that. And I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm realizing how rude it was for me not to talk to you all weekend.
I was prepared to defend myself.
Yeah, I see you. But I disarmed you in a hurry.
Yeah.
Right. And so you fucking look and then was whatever. And so I guess it's funny now because I might have had the same look on my face if I was about to tell you what you thought I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
Right? Like I probably had the same look on me like, oh, you're not going to believe this. Whatever it was. And so whatever, fucking small talk. Boom, I got into an accident. And you're like, what? You're not mad about the race? Oh, fuck, you're racing. Like that money's penance compared to what I just got to spend now. And so I tell you all that shit. And I say, yeah, I'm glad. So this was another thing. I didn't know I was going to even get to tell you. Because I had to leave at 4.
Yeah.
And there's you like to come at fucking 5 to 6 and leave me there, you fucking bastard. And so I'm like, is this guy even gonna come? Like, not that you had to know, but if I left, I was thinking I was just gonna have to text you and tell you why I had to like go and why I'm not there when you come to say hi.
Yeah.
So, but fucking funny enough, you come by at 3:30, whatever it was, and so I had to tell you. So then. Now I'm getting hassled. So again, whatever, like work was fine, but I'm like fucking sweating my ass off. Like I had no work issues at that time, right? But it was just, my mind was elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it was a long day in that kind of fucking sense. Go home, pick her up, do it. So Tammy's, she's like not like yelling at me, mad at me about this, but she hates this whole deal. Like she's sad about her car. She's sad about all this. Like, so she's like me, like I was the rest of that day Sunday.
Mhm.
And I felt, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel bad because it's my fault. This whole thing is my fault. And she's no longer interested in talking me off the ledge about it anymore. She's living in it like I was.
Mhm.
And just like, God, this sucks, this, that. It's such a hassle. Everything is so more annoying to her because this extra level of fucking bullshit that we have to do. And now I feel so guilty because it's me. And then I feel guilty for the personal part, her car, all that shit. So it's a long thread.
Yeah.
So I go get her. Fuck, we got to go to get the rental car. We get the rental car. She goes to put her name. I don't shoot kids. Anyway, she goes to put her name for the fucking, like, as a driver because she wants to drive the rental car.
Yeah.
And I thought she'd rather drive her old car, but anyway, she wants a new car. And she gives her the license to the rental car place, and he's got that for a sec. He goes, this license is expired.
Oh gosh.
Like, it's expired last year in November.
What the hell?
And she's like, oh, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like, she looks in her car. She goes, oh my God, my health card's expired
It's
too.
July.
She's fucking furious at now she's more mad. So now I got to deal with this bullshit. She can't even get put on the car. Right? Like, so now I'm fucking on the rental car. So I'm driving the rental car home. Even where we parked the car, it's this little thing, they fucking boxed her in. It took her like an Austin Powers 8-point turn to fucking get out of there.
Man.
And so we drive from there to the accident report place. And that's where she gets out of the car and she's like all upset about the license, upset about everything. And she's like living in this frustration. And she's like, and they boxed me in. Part of it, I think she wanted to blame me for where I put the car. And I had nowhere else to go to the car. So I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry. But, you know, I just want to fucking keep saying, sorry. And so then we go into this fucking government police, whatever, the police station thing to report it. And there's already 2 people there.
Yeah.
And there's only one person doing the fucking reporting. And we're like, oh, like, what kind of fucking operation are we running here? Right. And short story long, we wait there for an hour before we even just leave because they're not going to get to us in time.
Yeah.
Right. They fucking say, like, so we thought we could get in there. They'd say, okay, you know what? Whatever. They counted. I heard them talk to each other and it seemed to be okay. And then another guy comes and we just thought, oh, this poor sucker, you know what I mean? Like getting the end. But they end up taking him before the person in front of me.
That's so annoying.
And they say, she's like the girl, and whatever, she's just a fucking worker there. She's like, oh, I have to take this person because I sent him earlier. He didn't have something. So we were already like dealing with him.
Yep.
It's like, you know, whatever. So now I'm like, well, fucking now they're not going to do it. So we had to leave. So I'm like, I got to leave work early again tomorrow. And I got to do this. And she doesn't have to come at least or she couldn't at that time. Like there was no real reason for her to be there. So I left that day going back to work Tuesday. I still have to do half of these fucking things and waiting for it. So I ended up going back the next day and getting it taken care of. And the person couldn't be nicer. She was like, sorry about the frustration with it all and all that. So Tuesday I had to leave early again. But I don't think I was as agitated about, like, I don't know. You're the one who saw me.
Yeah.
I think I was
Tuesday
a little bit.
You were kind of fine-ish.
Like, I just dealt with it. But it was still annoying.
It wasn't Thursday and it wasn't Wednesday.
Well, so Wednesday was a whole different animal.
Yep.
Like, Wednesday, like, she got her license fixed. She could drive the car on Wednesday. Wednesday worked out really decent enough for all of my other personal problems.
Yeah.
But, like, it came to, I got frustrated at work with, I think we started off like my frustration with the design department.
Yep.
I can't remember
slamming doors.
I don't remember if that was us or how much work talk we already talked about in the fucking show part.
I don't remember, but that was hilarious. It was the funniest part was when you turned to the design booth in the area and called them all fucking idiots, or did you say fucking retards?
I said the retards. I said the R word.
And I was just like, oh my God, this guy is really mad.
It was really mad. But part of it was all this other frustration dealing with it. And again, yeah, they were ruining my big project.
Yeah.
And I felt just, like whatever, fucking, they were there for that frustration. And so were you.
I've never been to an accident reporting center.
And that's the other thing. I was thinking they're making this so hard for me.
Yeah.
Like, do I even have to do this?
Yeah.
Right. And then so like it's such a, I'm like there's no hard answer. Well, the hard answer is to go.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to do the right thing. So because the other guy was such a nice guy, and I don't want to get anything turned back on me for doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Because I have all the insurance, right? I have everything right. Like I feel so guilty about like doing everything. I just want to do everything by the book.
Yeah. But from my understanding, because for the audience who doesn't know, this is Selena's industry. She's been doing it forever. Like
not just auto insurance, but insurance in general.
She's been doing auto insurance for majority. That's
really?
what she did her majority of. She only recently went to property for like a year. She's been doing auto insurance for 10 years, right? So from my understanding, you don't get penalized for it. There's no penalty or anything. And she even told me that some companies don't even send reports or get reports from them anymore. Her company does, but some companies don't even. I think it's one of those, government regulatory money grab things. I know that you don't have to pay anything, but I think the insurance companies do.
If I never reported, to the city, the municipality?
Yeah. So Selena said, so what she said to me was, they don't care if you go or not. But if the other person goes, then the accident reporting center is just going to call you to go. Your insurance doesn't really give a fuck.
So I can't believe I actually went again because I'm all about not having to do stuff like that.
But you don't want to get called to go do it anyways, right?
But if that's the only penalty, then I would have just all the frustration that I just dealt with.
Yeah, would have been avoided.
Right? But I was just trying to be a good citizen.
Yeah.
Right? Do my part.
That's from what I understand, but I never knew about that before because I've been in accidents before. I've never been to the collision reporting center.
So I wonder if that's because by Wednesday, I'd had almost all that dealt. Now we're basically just waiting for the body shop to call us to take the car down.
Yeah.
Which again won't be that big of a deal, right? Like I want it to be. I wish it was already started to be done so we can have this get fucking elbow back, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, but I understand, like you said, they're probably just waiting for the part. I don't know how busy they are. Yeah. It's the insurance places thing. I mean, we have we have good insurance, and so we have the rental car until it's done. You know what I mean? So whatever it is. We just it sucks having the car. So by Wednesday, I shouldn't be angry about this anymore. So I wonder how much of that, when I do have something to be angry about, and I love being righteous against the fucking design people and whatever, and so I think sweat's pouring off. I'm trying to figure this thing, like we talked about earlier with other jobs. I'm not going to get the respect I am for making this work. They're just sketching it out on a fucking paper. I mean, it's designed by computers and all that thing. That's where my faith in the technology gets out of. I'd rather have Medeiros' sketch, and I would get more respect from making it work from here, from your fancy computer picture with half washers fucking made and all this. Is it's nice to see that it works on paper, but it doesn't really.
Yeah.
Right. And then having make it work. But we like that about ourselves, that we can make it work. That's why we think, or I think we're better than them because we actually make it work in a physical level. Mm-hmm. And so, but I was just, I didn't want to hear any of it. I was just living in this half-ass thoughted fucking design and dealing with this frustration of you're just making me want to make this work. And then you come along, and I guess I can be so honest with you. I'm not going to fake it. Yeah. I'm not going to be hey Jay, how you doing? I'll be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you don't want to hear it. I'm like, you don't have that choice. You're going to hear it. And so instead of, I don't even know how many pleasantries you got, or I just went right into how shitty of a day I was having.
Yeah.
I probably just went right into how shitty of a day I was having.
You definitely went right.
I was fucking slamming. I was calling people retards and all that. And so.
Well, it was, so how's your day? And it was you said, I don't remember the exact words you said, but they weren't pleasant about your day. You weren't very kind to your day.
No, I don't know if I gave you that. I don't even know if I said, hello, how were your day? Or just went,
no, I said it to you, and then you responded, and then you went, you were just, you were gone. And it was yeah.
And so that would have been, that was Wednesday or Thursday? That must have been Thursday.
That was Wednesday.
That was Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then because part of it was I had to leave again at 4 to go do this accident report, which part of me knew I didn't have to do. So how much of that was just these fucking, I thought it was a police thing, and then I realized it's a municipality thing, and then I lose respect for that. I was this fucking whole process or whatever.
Yeah, some bullshit.
And then so I do it, whatever. So I fucking let my real life shit get into my fucking, with stuff I don't, but these people know. I don't know how much I would have still been frustrated about that. I would have been fucking so angry and what have you, but I guess second best to you is having Marcel and Ali, we talked about before. Ali gives me a glowing report.
Wasn't here this week.
He wasn't here, so that must have fucking nailed you.
Oh, that's why I came early. Oddly enough,
that's hilarious. So really, I do have the ear of people that do understand what's going on.
Yeah,
and it's not like my expectations are lost. So, but yeah, it was hard to have everything go. So yesterday, Thursday, was the best day.
Yeah.
Other than today. But yesterday
you
was
were in a great mood.
I'm so happy to change it. You don't deserve that kind of thing. But but I could have made it better. I didn't have to be like that for the whole time. But
I don't mind.
It was fucking shit. So yeah, the accident happened. Tammy still reminds me of, she just the picture now. She's got Jeep Envy when she parks beside one. Yeah. She walks by Elmo every day in the garage and fucking says hello to him and all that. So yeah, I feel pretty bad that I did that to her.
Oh man. Well, that's freaking rough. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been worse. So take the wins.
I asked you if you've been in how many accidents you've been in.
Yeah.
You said
So,
a couple.
I've been in a couple. I've been actually I was thinking about it today. I got in an accident on my motorcycle almost exactly like what you had. So I was going to Brampton to meet my cousin. We were gonna go ride to a bike, it was a bike meetup. And we went, and I came off the highway and I was on the off ramp, right? And this guy was in front of me and he was making a right turn. And so he stopped, and it's Brampton, so you already know driving's gonna be freaking D- at best, right? On a good day. It was a hot, sunny day, whatever. This guy's making a right turn. He stops, and I look, it's a red light. And I look, and then the roads are absolutely clear, right? It's clear. There was one car passing him, so the car passed, and then I looked down the road to see, right? And there's no cars there at all. Still red light. I look right, there's nobody walking, and he's still in front of me. So then he starts to go. So I'm like, okay, now I have to go. Obviously, it's a motorcycle, so I'm coming off the clutch and all this kind of stuff. And then I start going, and he slams on his brakes, and I go right into the back of him.
Wow.
And I'm like, I was so pissed. And I was like, he came out, and he was like, sorry. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, drive the car, whatever. So that situation wasn't that bad. But I've had an accident on the highway, and I hit somebody on the highway, or they hit me. I said they hit me. He said I hit them. I don't really remember.
Was it like a side? So that's from behind.
Yeah. No, it was like
the first one is from behind, you said.
He was like, yeah, the first one I hit them from behind. This one, it was like a side type of a thing. I was in the fast lane, so I don't know.
Were you going into the right, like to the
No, I
middle
wasn't
lane?
moving.
And he was, you don't know what he was
I was
doing.
on my way
I
home
see.
from Scarborough, and I was just driving, and
Next thing you know,
He
you're
said-
rubbing paint beside somebody.
yeah, exactly. His
How-
car spun out. My car didn't spin. I was driving
What?
what was I driving at the time? I was driving a Lincoln. I had a Lincoln, right? And it was like it was
Pimpin'.
pretty heavy rear wheel drive car.
Yeah.
So he hit it, and then he started to spin out. He hit the guardrail. He was in a Honda Civic, like whatever.
Going like 100?
Yeah, probably going well over
120?
probably 120. Yeah, and he spun out and whatever, and we went, and the cop was like trying to figure out what was going on, and he didn't really know what was going on. He charged both of us.
How long did the cop take to get to there, to the accident?
So the tow truck came and the cop came basically at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we went off to a gas station, and it was like this whole thing. I got my rental car that night. So I just went, I called my insurance, and they said, yeah, we just had like a late night rental place like right down the street from me.
Yeah, I
And
thought this
went
happened
there.
way late at night.
Yeah, it was like 2 a.m,
And
3
they
in
still
the
had a
morning.
place open?
Yeah, so I got to this rental place, and this guy drives up, I guess the owner or manager, whatever. He gives me the keys, like, there you go, sign these papers. He walked around the car,
insane.
and I had
That
a car, the
seems kinda
same
sketch.
thing. And it's funny because I worked at the airport, so I had to go to work that morning at 5. I just went straight to work.
From an accident?
From an accident, I went straight to work.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
But yeah, so that was those experiences with accidents.
I've been hit from behind, hit this guy from behind, and I've hit another car from behind.
Yeah.
On the highway. I was working where we work, like in Milton now, and I'd play hockey at like Tuesdays or Thursdays or both, way by the airport, and so I'd have to drive all the way on the 401 and get there, and like at like 3:45. And so it's building up. It always builds up at a certain spot. You kind of know it. So I'm flying on in the fast lane, and again, all of a sudden, the car in front of me, you see brake lights, whatever. You tap them, you go, but he just stopped.
Oh,
Like this is
gosh.
again why, but hitting from behind is always the person from behind's fault. Even in the situation you said
Yeah.
where the guy should have gone,
Yeah.
you can't, like, it's all anticipation. You did 100 of these right hand turns,
Absolutely.
but you just don't pay attention. Like you're just not vigilant enough.
Yeah. No.
Right.
for
And
real.
so again, in the same situation, I wish this guy fucking hit his brakes earlier if he was coming to a dead stop. But all of a sudden, the guy came to a dead stop, and I had a Jeep then too. Right? I was driving a Jeep, and so like that's such a heavy duty bumper. Like it's gonna crush most cars.
Oh yeah.
Like when I got hit from behind, I had a car got hit from a pickup truck, and it just crushed my bumper. His bumper was above my bumper. So my bumper didn't even get like involved in it. So this time again, I hit. It wasn't a Mercedes, but it was like a brand new fucking Nissan SUV of some kind. Like it wasn't a shitty car, that's for sure. And it was like, well, I get up, blah blah blah. And so we could drive away from that accident. I went to hockey, like I did, because I was a goalie. I didn't want to let him down. I was all frazzled and
You
shit.
have to be there.
And so I fucking did all that. Fucking did sketch. Fucking go. The car wasn't that undrivable, but I remember that what did I do? Oh, my friend worked because it was all my fault, and I wanted to do something with the insurance or whatever. I don't know how much of this I should put on here. I wanted to go to a Georgetown dealership to get it done, and so I somehow. Fucking whatever. I misrepresented myself to the collision report at that time.
Jay.
Yeah, I can't remember what went down, but I got my buddy to help me out with the car. I guess I didn't go through insurance. No, I must have went through insurance. Either way, I realized this is what I wanted to get to was how I changed my driving habits after an accident.
Yeah.
So ever since like this has happened, like I'm not as in it as I was before, but I am such a more careful driver this week. Like driving has not been I'm like my patience is at its best.
Yeah.
I'm looking both ways. Like I'm not fucking going fast. I'm like leaving, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to piss the guy off behind me, but I'm not riding the guy up in front.
Yep.
I think of the story I told you, like, and others that other stories I have, but when I was telling you that the road rage I had when I was like I got cut off on a guy like turning on Thompson, and he like turned right in front of me, and I followed him for a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm just like realizing like all that guy had to do was hammer his brakes. I would have fucking crushed him. Like I was using my car as a weapon, right? Like I was using my rage, like my righteousness to put everybody in an unsafe position. And I was just like, why would I do that? Like, you know, it's come and gone now.
The outcome is not going to be great.
It's coming up, but like, just like you were fucking raging at the car that didn't go
Me?
ahead. Just that you,
Jay,
fucking,
what are you talking about?
So much more angry than I would have been. It's so much fun for me to see because I'm in the passenger seat with a buzz on. Fucking, it's like, oh my god, you're right, but that's
Like,
overreacting, right? Like I'm the king of overreacting.
Honestly, I can't. That's one thing I can't control.
No, because you're living your truth. Like you're fucking saying what's on your mind, and you're so right about it. And but you know what? It has no place on the road.
Yeah.
Yes,
they do. How dare you get a license?
I get you.
Like, you know what I mean?
I get good luck with that, right?
I
Like
know.
that's where you lose. That's where you're just going to ask for another accident. Because I'm not saying you would do it at this time, but what do you end up doing? I'm just going to push him further. I'm going to put my car really up against his bumper.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that'll teach him. It's not going to teach anybody anything.
I was actually trying to squeeze through.
Yeah, I know. But you did the right thing. You just waited. You fucking yelled at him, called him all the names, waited till the light changed, and go, now I go. Yes, well, you did the right thing. You were raging about it, but you just like, okay, this bad driver is going to do what he does. But you're not turning yourself into another bad driver.
Yeah.
Right? Like I brought up me following that other car because that was an example of me just being a horrible driver.
I like that though.
Yeah, but that's who we are. You know what I mean? Like that's like, I mean, that's what one of the few things we have in common, I guess, is that our rage. That's why I love it when I see you get angry in the car. Or we have in common when we get angry at somebody at work. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
gosh.
But that's because you get justified. It's like, yeah, I'm right. Brian agrees with me. I'm right. And so so I thought of that. This is one that was that I couldn't get out of my head at all. And Tammy wouldn't even remember it, or she might. When I was coming home from Ottawa, like we came home on the 401. Right?
Recently?
Remember we went to Ottawa not too long ago.
Yeah.
And so I was flying home. Like I was going like 140 and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like at one point, like, cause I hate going slow and I fucking think that nothing can fucking like, you're invincible or whatever.
Yeah.
Going up, we took Highway 7. We couldn't really get fucking going fast. But on the way home, we're going down the 401 and the 407. And at a certain point, as we got whatever, earlier in our journey on the highway, this train of fucking Lamborghinis go past us.
Oh yeah.
Like a McLaren and two Lamborghinis.
Nice.
Like come up. I see them coming up behind us. Like what? And then behind them, this fucking Porsche kids come. So they were going like 150. So it's like free reign. You know what I mean? It's like, well, fuck. They're going to pull those people over if they can catch them. They're not going to get me, right? Like I could go at least 120, but I use it as an excuse to go fucking 130, 140, passing everybody on the fucking thing. Like how hard would it have been for me to react to a situation like that? By the time I got used to driving that fast, like I wouldn't stay in the fast lane, but I would go in and out of the medium lane. And so I would know when I was about to turn into the left lane. I would go right behind the car and go.
Yeah.
But it's just like all of a sudden, it just traffic has to stop. I forgot about the accident I just told you about going to hockey. Like anything can happen on that highway.
Yeah.
And me, just because the Lamborghini was going 140, I use that as an excuse for me to go 140 and get home, 20 minutes faster?
If that.
Right? You know, like, right.
What, when a trip to Ottawa, 20 minutes faster.
Whatever, right? Like, it's not, it's just, but
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Like,
I've seen, like when you get, this is not what you were doing, but when you're on the highway and then people are like cutting you off and they're trying to speed, but you come up to them like 5 minutes later and you're just like, where did you go?
Loser.
Or they cut in front of you, they try to pass you and they're just like brake right in front of you. It's just like, I'm going this slow for a reason. I like to drive fast too. It's like you're telling them like, I like to drive fast too, but obviously it's not one of those situations.
They don't hear you.
No.
That's all in your head and you deal with that. And that's where you can either just fucking let it wash off your back, or you can be like fucking right up against their bumper. And, you know what I mean? How dare you disrespect me and my driving ability?
Exactly. Right? That's exactly what I
know.
think.
I know, but then that's not why I got into my accident now, but that mindset.
Yeah.
That's like, you know what? I'm better than waiting for this fucking guy to turn right. You know what? I can save fucking a second and a half by going into the right lane and go. Worst case scenario, the guy's turning right, and it turns yellow and red. I go, God, just another intersection that I got to wait through.
You know, I've had the same situation, but accidents haven't really curved my driving thing, but it does play a thing. But what really did it? Speeding tickets. I can't even lie. I got so many speeding tickets, and I remember one time, me and my cousin, we were coming from what's outside of Meaford? Is outside of
Nobody cares.
Orangeville, some shit like that.
About fucking an hour and a half away from the city.
From
Brampton.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm driving back, right, and we're like, I just want to get home. We spent the weekend over there. I just want to get home. And I'm like passing cars. It's like a 2-lane. It's like a country. Like
one lane each way.
One lane each way. Sometimes 2 lanes each way. Whatever. And I'm passing cars and I'm speeding, and I'm just like, oh my God. And then I get pulled over by OPP, of course, when you have to go Timbuktu to freaking get your thing. And so like it just starts to be like I would have saved myself freaking like 7 minutes by speeding. But now I added 20 minutes sitting here with this freaking cop freaking writing me a ticket, asking me why I'm speeding, giving me bullshit for no reason. Well, other than the fact that I was speeding.
Right there,
and like, so yeah, that really curbed my thing. Like, speeding tickets are such a pain in the ass, especially when you fight them, especially when you want to pay for them. Like, that really did it. I know, like,
so that has less consequence other than money and your time.
Like, and demerit points.
Yeah, like it's like that. It does that's why the deterrent is there.
It's more of an annoyance.
It seems more unnecessary. Well, this is what I'm saying. It's the equal amount of unnecessary risk on your part.
Yeah,
it's the same as like driving.
Why?
But that's what. Yeah, I mean, like, the comparison is like the deterrent is the same. Like my deterrent is all in my head. Like the deterrent's going to come money wise that my insurance is going to go up.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have to pay a deductible, but there's no way this doesn't affect the next insurance that I have to do.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole point of my fault. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is. So they're going to fucking find out how much this costs them, and then they'll get their money back in a certain way. It makes me more jaded about the insurance company part.
Yeah.
Right. Because we all need it, and you have it, and you want it when you have it. But if they're just going to fucking spike it for doing it, then you're really not, you know what I mean? You're not doing me any favors.
Yeah.
But they're not there to do me, like their whole presentation is to, you're in our hands now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their whole presentation is they're fucking there to take care of you. But the second they can fuck you, they will.
Yeah.
And then you get into a situation where, I mean, this is not even safe, where like you're in Katrina and you're flooded your house and you have to fight insurance, and then they just like whatever fucking like T you didn't cross or I, and then they come back and say, no, it turns out we don't have to pay you for your house.
Yeah. Well, I guess obviously I'm saying this from the opposite side, but I think the most problem with that is because people fraud them. That's why it's just this whole dot your
I understand where it's more there.
There's so much freaking people frauding, and it's just like it screws it up for everybody. Like I used to think back in the day, I used to be like, yo, you know what? Fuck it, I could just easily fraud the insurance. My car got stolen. What are they really going to do? How are they really going to know? You know what I mean? But then you really realize that when you actually being honest you get screwed over for that mindset that you.
I don't want to fucking derail. Like,
I know,
what?
I know.
No. But I don't want to derail this. And obviously, I make it about me. The insurance part or the deterrent. So the deterrent for the speeding ticket. You look like. Why are you even pulling me over for speeding for 10 kilometers over on this country road? Like everybody's speeding, you're just picking on me, whatever. Like you're a fucking glorified revenue collector, and like just fine like that. But the rules are there to fucking make everything safe. But you look at it just like, oh, they just want money. Yeah. Like you look at a speed trap. Like it's just like, why are you lowering this down to 40?
A trap.
All of a sudden, the word trap is already in there.
Yeah.
So you just find this bullshit, whatever reasons to hate the system on that. So I got charged for fraud when I was like 12 years old. 13.
For insurance fraud?
No. I fucking took a receipt that my mom got.
This whole thing's
That's why I went to the insurance company thing, because I don't want to be caused for fraud anymore. No, I got in a lot of trouble when I was a kid. The deterrent, like your speeding tickets, is like, oh man, I don't want to go down that road anymore. It's better not to speed. I'm sure you still do, but you know what I mean? You pick and choose your spots.
Absolutely.
Or you're more aware.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when we drove all the way to like 10 minutes to Florida, it's like, I don't want to be caught speeding in Virginia with a fucking Ontario plate. You know, like they're going to throw the book at me.
Yeah.
And so whatever. So I say, but yeah, this is the first time fraud. I never, like, it's such a heavy word, right? Like it just seems so like white collar crime type of fucking deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, in my youths, before I was like probably like 13, 14, whatever, 14 tops. My mom came from, it wasn't even Walmart, it was Woolco.
Fuck is that?
Yeah. And so it was a fucking department store, and she was like, she bought this, that, and the other, and she was showing me, she picked me up from my friend's house or whatever. And I had already been doing lots of sketchy shit. So I fucking took the receipt out of the bag, left the house right away, went right back to the mall where she basically picked me up. You know, this is when your kids were allowed to do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Picked up everything from the fucking shelf, right? Like whatever, picked up like $20, $30 worth of things. And then went to customer service. They can have my money back. I don't want this. And somebody had been following me through the store.
Oh, man.
And the second I did it, I was just by myself. It wasn't like a gang of youths. It was just, I don't even know how they were following me or whatever it was. But I can't remember what the items were. But I took these 3 or 4 items to the fucking counter with the receipt. Just bought it earlier. Said, yeah, you know what. And so she did it. And then the second she did it, some fucking lady goes to the counter. Did you just give him money for those things? She goes, yeah. She was fucking grabbed me, fucking put my arms in fucking handcuffs.
You should have elbowed her.
Obviously, she could have had no real right to touch me because she was just a store security department.
Exactly.
These were before whatever. I wasn't aware, and I was like fucking blindsided. Brought me in, police and fucking charged with fraud.
Damn, they charged you? But this must have got dropped.
It got dropped. No, nothing really stayed. But you know what I mean? Like I remember when they said fucking whatever they got, and so they were talking shit to me when the police finally came, and my mom had to come. And all this, they were like, fucking, you know what? Like, we were charging for fraud. Like, this is fraud. And my mom's just fucking staring daggers at me and whatever.
Oh, she was going to kill you?
Oh, not happy at all. She just fucking got home from buying this shit.
Like,
they wanted to know.
What the fuck?
They wanted to know. They were more fucking concerned in how did I come up with this idea?
Yeah.
Like, they were like, what the fuck?
I was thinking that was a good idea.
This is much, well, so was I. And so they were thinking that this is such a criminal element idea. They started looking at me with fucking concern in their eyes, going like, did you come up with this on your own?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, like, if I answer yes, this is going to put me in another category of having to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, nah, I heard somebody at school fucking say they did this and that. And so, but I just
That's another great idea.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You go, Jay.
Yeah, I did. And so we got dropped. Then there was no concern about me being the, like a mastermind.
Yep.
They were like, oh, the people you hang out with, they're bad influence. They're like, yeah. So
damn right.
it just brought this whole fraud thing. So yeah, I don't want nothing to do with fraud. I never did that again.
Yeah.
I might have stole something every now and then since then, but you know what I mean? Like I try to learn my lesson, but how long does it go, right? Like when was the last time you got a speeding ticket?
A long time ago.
Yes.
Years.
And so you still speed. So if you ever got caught for speeding again, you'll be like, I don't know what you would think. You know what I mean? Like part of you would think like, oh, I haven't been checked on this for so long, right? Like
I would probably think like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, either I was due to get caught.
Yeah.
And so I look at it, I was due to be in an accident. If I do this kind of things, you don't even realize like how close things come.
Yeah.
And the fact that like the shame that I feel for causing it, the sadness that my wife's car is, you know what I mean? Like being things.
Accidents happen.
And that's all you can go to it, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know how I turn this into a positive where I don't get so frustrated with the people that design at work. Like, why do I add that? Like, just like, you know what, fucking shit happens.
Because they're idiots.
It's so, but whatever. I don't, I mean, that's how you can make it more bigger than it has to be.
I agree.
But yeah, that's how my week started.
Damn. Well, that was a very eventful week.
It was.
It was. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
You did not. How dare you not?
I enjoyed it.
Fucking you. I guess the only other work shit we were talking. How do we put this? You've been more involved in the changes that are work happenings.
Yeah.
Right? Like, never mind. Convince me to shadow people. Think maybe that will never happen. You got more things on your mind.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
No. So you tested new welders, and you've shamed me for not trying the new welders out before and all that. But yes, today you went to go. How would you put it? Like
demo
a robot.
Yes.
The beginning of the end of our humans working at our fucking thing. What's up with that?
Yeah. So we demoed a robot that they want to do one of our tasks. Well, we don't do it. I couldn't tell you last time.
A low level.
I welded this part like this. Have you?
I have.
Recently?
No, not recently.
Decade?
But I have had to do it.
Decade?
No, I've put doors together probably a year and a half ago, 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like when Danny's not been there.
Yeah.
And I've had to put my own, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Because
it's a bitch job, right? Anybody can do it.
I mean, yes. That's
right? Like,
fair.
it's just one of the low level, no disrespect, like that meaning. But it's just like, it's a entry level position if you wanted to.
I mean, maybe even
lower.
Well,
you said that. That's why you don't want the light modules to be doing it. Well, it's the first job that the robots could take over from.
Yes. There we go. Thank you.
It's
That's
the first job
the robots could take over.
If we found a really smart chimp, we could probably get it to do it too.
Yeah. So we demoed the robot, and
it's impressive from my point.
It looks pretty cool. It had some hiccups, so we got out late because the guy had some issues
setting it up for us, or with something else.
So him doing this stuff was fine, but when we gave him something that he had to set up our door, he ran into certain issues, mostly positioning issues and size issues. So like, it would get to a certain thing and it wants to go somewhere, but it just couldn't reach it, type of thing. Like, it was too close for it.
Yeah.
So we were just gonna skip that one weld, stuff like that.
But that's not really what you were there for. I mean, part of it was.
We all understood that, obviously.
Setup issues are going to come in.
Yeah, exactly. And we would make it more customized to what we do.
And I'm guessing you just want to bring like some kind of a standard item.
Yeah.
And so I've not worked with more robots than you have. You must have had something in mind when it was almost, when you showed it to me, it was almost exactly what I would picture.
Yeah. So you picture like a modern day arm.
Like, so yeah,
I've worked with like, my first job out of college was Skyjack, and I immediately was working beside a robot, and that was, let's say, 10 years ago. Okay.
And
9 years ago.
Okay.
Right. And we know how far technology has come since then. So it was like, it's like a massive, it was 2 arms, and it was like, it was probably like, the picture I showed you was probably like, I want to say 4 or 5 times. It took up the size of like our laser at work. It was like that size. The bay, the welding bay was.
Was it because it was making big pieces?
Or? It was making a big piece, but the arms were just massive. And it had like a spinning thing that it would spin so that it could get backsides and stuff like that. So thinking of an arm that we have today, I didn't think those type of things were possible, to have something strong enough to be able to to make the minute adjustments that small would have been weird. Because, when you make something smaller, it's harder to do it strength-wise, to hold something up, like as heavy as an arm, as a metal arm, and stuff like that. So I expected it to be a little bigger than what we saw. And so it came out to be small and very user-friendly. A lot of these things have to be like programmed by doing each point and like making trial and error and stuff. This was like a 5-minute programming thing by basically putting it where you want and putting it where you end and telling it the type of weld it's going to do.
Yeah, I think when we were talking about it before, I was trying to throw negative shit at it.
Yeah.
I think part of it becomes that it looks so modern and polished that it can't possibly deliver on how good it looks. And the way I don't want to believe a salesman, You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust them.
Yeah.
That and like, so a good salesman with a very good polished fucking piece of technology and all that, it's so hard not to just love it, right? And love the promise of everything.
Yeah.
Like my pushback against this is like, there's no way this can just like, it's going to be overpromised and underdeliver.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a good way to look at it. Like, I don't want to come at it in a bad way. I was just looking at it more like how it, like everything is taking away the craftsmanship and the artistry of doing what we do. But that physical job, those things, there shouldn't, there is no artistry.
It's letting us expand.
It is. And you should be like, I want to be excited about that. I don't know why I go to the, well, who's going to be the fucking monkey that just picks this piece up and puts it down for the robot to do all the job?
Somebody's getting hired $15 an hour.
That's, you know what I mean? Like, I would probably rather work at Tim Hortons for $15 an hour than do that.
Than do that.
Right? Like, I don't know. Right? Like, that's when you start losing. That's why it's hard for companies to find people to work, right? Like, I don't know, but anyway, the technology was so impressive. Like this, it looked like a fucking medical arm to me. It looked like something I've seen on TV.
Yeah,
like it was all stainless steel. But like I said, I just picture it not. I'm more in the frustration of the growing pains working with something like that. Like, would I be better off working with a robot or working with Zach?
A robot.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Like, well, I shouldn't be so quick to dismiss this.
This is easy,
right?
You should have picked somebody else.
No, I'll take him. That's all. That's the only reason. I just don't know why I was like not like all gung ho for it. I do think it's just I was just feeling for the guy doing it now and looking at it like somebody's going to feel butthurt about being replaced by a robot.
That's the problem, right?
But somebody has to be the first,
especially for somebody who doesn't even like technology at all.
Yeah, that's true. He's very old school.
Yeah.
And it'll be one of those things where people don't look at it the right way. It's just like, oh, you're going to invest in all these office people. But what about us down out here on the floor that are sweating their ass off doing something? They don't look at the bigger picture. Like, we're trying to expand here. Like, this is what you got to do. We can't, just because we had one HR person for fucking 25 years, we can't do that anymore. We need like this. We need a media team. What does that mean? You know, like nobody... it's not their job. Their job is just shut up and dribble. And so you do that. So I love that. Like that. I see that. There's so many other ways to look at it. Look at it. It's like you've tried to tell me in way. It's like it's so far from taking my job over, or just like they want somebody like me to have my input. Like when you said about the other new welders.
Exactly.
If you came to me and said, "Hey Jay, do you want to see if you can like watch this welder build this door?" I could be just like the person we're talking about, just go, fuck you, fuck that. Good luck with this. You want, you know what I mean, with your expanding, I'll go work at Tim Hortons, you know, like whatever I want to say. But like really, that's putting down the part of me that really likes the technology.
Yeah.
And I'm disrespecting with all my knowledge that I just say, I can hear it right now, you need to turn it up. Or I can hear right now, you know, this, that, or the other. So
it's funny, we had that exact issue. Like they were setting up for the door and the guy's like, oh, what do you think we should start at? You think we should do 250? And then Marcel was like, yeah, 250. And my first question was, this is not shade against Marcel. My first question was, okay, well, what size wire are you using? That makes a big fucking difference. You can't just say the number means so.
Yeah, I hear you.
And so they said, he's like, oh, it's 364. So I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna have to want to go down. We're talking about a freaking less than an eighth door here. You're not gonna be welding at 250. So they put it down. He put it down like really low. I think the travel speed was low. So he went like really low to like 150. And then you could hear instantly. And we were like, no. You can't do that. You got to put it up. So we could hear that instantly. And that's the one thing I liked about this robot. It is it's more dependent on a welder than all the old school robots were. The old school robots were dependent on a programmer. Like, numbers, point A, X, Y, Z, access, all this stuff. This is the welder literally manually setting
the start point,
the angle. If you set it at an angle and you end it at a different angle, it will gradually go to the different angle.
Interesting.
If you set it at the same angle, it will keep that same angle. So even wire stick out and stuff, like nobody knows what we're talking about.
No, but you know the interesting part is you're finding interesting things about it.
Yeah, he said, this is the only thing that stuck out to me that he said, that they designed it for welders. Right. And so everything he was doing, I was really trying to pay attention to those kind of stuff that it was light to move. Like you would move it. You could move it with one hand very easily. I tried when he got me to try it. I purposely tried to make like subtle, tiny moves because, like, the wire is thin. So if I'm missing the joint, I want to be able to go down freaking a half a millimeter to get to the joint, and it would do that.
But you had to
it.
physically notice it was a half a millimeter off.
Yeah, you physically,
and then you had to
look with your
physically
eye
move it.
and just move it down just to set it, and it would just do that.
Why do I automatically go to the negative and say, how come it can't, like you said, I was like, oh, it doesn't set itself up.
Yeah.
Like I'm expecting whatever these fucking machines I've seen on TV or whatever, where just like you put it on there and it just knows, like just like your car, like it can give you an overhead view.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the cameras on your car, like the rear cameras, like we just take for granted. You know what I mean? Like how these cameras and the computer programs help us. The fact when you started telling me like the physical nature of like setting it up and just now moving it a half millimeter, it gives me less respect of the robot.
Yeah, because it's not designed.
It's designed
for a welder. It's not designed to be a welder.
Yes,
right?
That's the key point.
If they're going to design it to be a welder, you need cameras, you need sensors, you need temperature sensors, you need voltage sensors. Like you would need so much more things, and then that thing would be $1 million. And
that's the step that we're kind of in now, where this is so much better than the clunky one you saw.
Yeah,
and it fits. The clunky one would never be wouldn't have a purpose in our company.
The clunky one never knew where it was either.
No, and and that's what I'm saying. Like that's a Black Mirror fucking thought.
Yeah,
that's like this is not here yet.
Also, the clunky one had to be in an enclosed gate. It had to be closed up and everything because that thing would move without any human regard. This one, if it feels any force, it stops automatically.
Without human regard.
Yeah, you know hilarious. What I mean? So like this one, it's so fast and it would move around, but the guy just put his hand out and as soon as it's slight touch, it automatically stops and shuts off. So it doesn't need to be in an enclosed. All welding arms I've seen has been enclosed in a gate and stuff like that. This was wide open. You could stop it at any time. You just slap it and it would stop moving.
So you're in your element with this, with it's all work stuff.
I want nothing to do with it.
What are you talking about?
I don't like tedious work. That's my problem. I don't like the tedious shit. But to see it, if it was already set up and you want me to throw the thing on, well, not to stand there all day, but if it was already set up, sure. But to set it up myself, maybe I'll do it once or something. But like, I don't like the tedious. I would like to have it in the shop so that, oh shit, I need a door. Okay, move that off to the side, put this door on. I need this door right now, type of a thing.
But you love technology. You love new TVs. You love fucking you relish, like you live in that world.
Absolutely.
And you're like trying to convince me because I was so negative about it. You're the one who was on the other side. But then like, just like everything else, like, but you're more me than I fucking say it out loud.
Yeah, I don't want to set it up. I want it just to work.
God, you're so funny. So that was interesting. So you end up having to work on your day off.
Yeah.
You get paid for the whole day, or do they give you hours? You get a half a day?
I have no freaking clue.
You don't know?
No idea.
I would have thought that was the first thing that would be asked.
Nah.
I would hope that you would get more pay than you actually had to work for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's your real day off.
I mean, I didn't do anything.
Did you go to the barbecue today then?
No.
What are you fucking telling me then?
Why the hell would I do something like that?
Why
Jay?
wouldn't you go when you're telling me that I should, when we're talking about me? You didn't give any reasons why you're fucking.
I was busy today. I had a podcast to record.
Well, so did I. I didn't say that shit. Yeah, but you were already doing work stuff.
I know, but I'm not going to work for that shit. Forget that. I like the company and all, but guys, I spent enough time with you.
All right. Well, I just fucking hard pivot to the something that's not. Do you have any more on this stuff? I don't even know if I got my whole accident thing out of the way. F1, like I can go back to there. Your advice is good. I'm going to Twitter that shit. I'm going to tell me that
for this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to do that there.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm good.
I think the next subject I'd want to butcher is that you gave me homework for like the media bill, the C18.
Yes.
Then you surprised me about some C11 fucking bill that has to do with this one too.
Yes.
So I don't know how much homework I should have done for that.
Well, I forgot about C11 because it was talked about for so much longer.
Well, I tried to do some homework on it and talk about it, and I still think I'm a little bit misinformed. Yeah. I just don't know how it really is going to affect me. Or
and I don't think we're ever going to see the nuances of it unless we read the whole bill type of a thing, right?
I think it's one of these things, again, where you could just be so negative about the thought of what could go wrong or the overreach of something or like, why even do this? Like so it's a bill that instead of like Google and Facebook, doing or like complying to, they're just pulling out of Canada news feeds
essentially. So like Canada wants, so we talked about last week how Canada, they do a lot of this, they want to preserve Canadian things. Is really the basis of these bills, right? So they've done it with streaming service with Netflix, and a lot of their TV content has to be produced in Canada.
Produced or like so that's what they mean by Canadian content.
Yes.
Like the most.
Well, that's the deal they made with Netflix. Well, in general. So if you actually you must have noticed, but a lot of shows are done in Canada now.
But generally, lots of shows like Toronto has been Hollywood North
for
sure.
So
long.
But now it's mandated so much more. So it's a little more. It's a little more. I wouldn't say in your face, but it's more common.
Well, see, when I tried to compare to in a good way, when I wasn't scared of this bill last week, it was just like I brought up like Shreddy's box having to put French on it because it says by the and like these American companies that don't have to deal with that. Like if they want to sell here, they have to do it. I thought of it more when it came to like radio and television, the CRTC. It's like if there's not a rule, or if the government doesn't put a rule that a certain percentage of your songs on radio have to be Canadian artists. In my mind, that didn't mean produced in Canada. That could have meant fucking Bryan Adams went to fucking Hollywood to make the thing, but he's singing on the show.
So for radio, I'm pretty sure it was different. But for film, it had to be done. They had to give Canadian job. They had to give people jobs that were in Canada.
Well, yeah. So the opposite version of that is like Hollywood. I don't like for a time, or it still does. Like had like film flight. Like everything was like they were giving tax breaks in Georgia, tax breaks in New Mexico. Never mind the tax breaks in Vancouver and Toronto and Winnipeg. And so that's what drove the industry here in the first place.
Yeah,
it had nothing to do with the Canadian Content Act. It was this kind of heavy-handed oversight of the Hollywood, like of the government in LA, taking too much tax for film production. Say, you know what? Okay, we're gone. And now you've just lost all of this revenue.
Yeah.
And so I think since then they've changed their rules. Not enough to stop people from filming.
Yeah, no.
Right? Like they've tried to get people to come back and do more production in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. But like only I think it's probably only worked to a certain point.
Yeah.
This is almost that same kind of rule, I think.
Basically.
Or whatever. I tried to thing it into that. When in my limited research, I felt less about that, like that noble pursuit. Like having Bryan Adams or whoever on your radio, that's felt noble. If we're inundated by like the fucking Hollywood music machine or whatever, the American music machine, then our small little market here can never compete with that without like government help. And I wasn't affected by it, so it kind of felt booster seated. Like training wheels, like it didn't make me proud of any like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, well, really the best should rise to the top no matter what the competition is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like living in this society. Like, so I thought it was good overall for artists.
Yes.
And in the other way, when they were like, okay, if you're making a film in Toronto or wherever, you can't just bring your whole crew from Hollywood. Like the catering has to be like a certain percentage has to be local.
Yeah.
And that made sense to me. Like you can't just exploit. That's like stopping from like exploiting the situation and getting more out of it, and then they get more taxes. Like they still always win in the end. Yeah. So I didn't see. So I thought this would probably be along those kind of same lines.
C-18.
Yeah, this new bill that we decided to have homework with for yesterday or last week.
Somewhat is along those lines. So the Canadian Heritage Board Society. This is basically their bill.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know how much that gets interwoven with my idea that this is. I started to see it as a ill-advised cash grab. Like the reason why I found that Facebook and Google don't want to do it anymore is because they were asking them to pay for something they don't have to pay for now.
Well, it's not so much pay; it's that they have to change certain things to do it, and obviously that's going to cost money, but. The government side is that realistically, if you look at it, the traditional media is losing out. They're losing money. They're probably running at a loss. Freaking all these news medias are running at a loss
right now.
Yeah. So I feel like this is their way to save Canadian news media type of a thing. I think they kind of did it in a wrong way. But like, because when I look on a link, I don't really necessarily go to the Canadian one first.
That's me neither. I never even thought of it.
Right?
I never even thought of it.
Right?
I do when I'm looking for like a Canadian story.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Like whatever I should have had an example, but like whenever I'm looking for something, or when I was looking for this, when I was Googling this stuff, it was all Canadian that come up. Like oddly enough, I might not have gotten all the information I've got from this if this bill was into effect 100% right now. Because the clunkiness of it, the extreme nature of like Google and Facebook, like just not putting any content up that's Canadian instead of complying with whatever this bill is.
Yeah.
That's when last week I was saying, well, that just shows that there should be some give and take on that, right? Like it's not as extreme as this has come into place and they all have to comply with it. I also didn't like the fact of, if in my mind, without knowing 100% what's going on, it's like, okay, well, does Google and Facebook get to dictate what goes on, or does the government get to have some kind of say?
Right.
And so part of it is, well, they're like, it's again, we always just get the choice of two evils, right? Like, which one do we choose? And my thought at the time was, in the Bryan Adams fucking scenario, was just like, well, I want to protect Canadian content. If Google and I was wrong, I found like if it sounded to me like, oh, it's just going to make them show us more Canadian content. And what I found, it wasn't so much that, it was that they can put up whatever links they want. You're the nefarious nature of this is that private journalism is going to go away, and we're just going to get the big ones that can afford to be in this bill, or whatever it is,
exactly,
or whatever ones the government wants to push. And if you are against Google doing it, then the thought is that Google is arbitrarily pushing up things. But then if we thought that, then people wouldn't be on DuckDuckGo or Bing. You know what I mean? Like, then you can go into the wormhole of, well, what does Google fucking like, you know what I mean? Like, decide not to promote. So it's there. So somebody's deciding something. Yeah. It's never going to be as free will as I think it should be.
For sure.
And where I don't like about this thing is where I feign to, it just comes to a cash grab, because the news industry is losing money. They don't know how to fucking make money, right? That's why we got to this clickbait world and fake news. And that's what my hope was, is like, how do we get rid of that? But it's not because anybody can make fake news. It's that in reading this, like the government already has like a farmer subsidy or something like that. They already subsidize the main media news networks.
And that's a problem.
A massive problem. And they think this is a part of the way to stop that.
And that's even making it worse.
I know, but this is just like every other government thing you can think of. They're going about it the wrong way.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm not voting for Trudeau. No.
Good luck with that.
The thing is that
you could hate Trudeau for this if you want.
I do. This is actually, all these bills, these past two bills have been like kind of an annoyance for me. Like, I felt like it's not so much that, so they've been accused, Google, well, mostly Facebook, like Facebook social medias have been accused of influencing like political events and whatnot. But I feel like we are very close to a time where we're smart enough to recognize what information is false and not, the whole fake news. Like, I can recognize what's bullshit. If it's XYZW news, I'm not fucking clicking on it, and I'm not friggin' taking it for 100%. You know what I mean? And I think we're educated enough in this internet world to be able to make these kind of decisions. I don't think I need the government to mandate their subsidized media to be in front of my face, and that's part of the bill. But the thing is, that's news's problem, that they weren't able to adapt with the times. The writing was on the wall a long time ago. It's not like this came around 10 minutes ago. You refused to adapt, and then now you look back and the government has to help you. And it was the same thing. I mentioned BlackBerry. I think I mentioned it before. BlackBerry refused to adapt. When the iPhone came up, they refused to say, you know what, this is a serious situation. Like, this could be a thing. No, they stuck to their guns, and what happened to them? And so news is doing the same thing, and that's their own problem.
I see that, and I that's my point. That's my spot on it now. But I'm going to give it like so. But this might not be the end, because it's a bill and gets put in. If the fact that Google is so big and so important, right? This is almost like a turning point. You almost have to be. It's almost like why I hate negotiation, right? Is you have to say to your player, "Oh, you're not worth all these millions." And then he has to come, well, you pay, this other guy pays this other guy millions. And then but yeah, just pay my favorite player. And so eventually they just come to a compromise and everybody goes about it. But you always get these extremes come about. And I could be wrong still. But I was looking at it. I wanted to be generous and let this bill play out because I think it takes like a powerful thing like Google to say, like the government makes this extreme thing and Google says, okay, well, if you do this, this is the consequence. The government is just like the designers at work. They can make the door on paper, but then all of a sudden I have to put it on there. And then I can just say, listen, you fucked this up. Mm-hmm. You could be nice about it and just say, hey, you know what, guys? Yeah, I sweated my ass off. And, this was, boy, I wish it wasn't like that. Yeah. And I guess get all fucking angry about it and call people names. But then they look at it and go, okay. And then they change it. And in their mind, they go, well, why couldn't this guy just tell me just to change it? And so Google has more influence than, like in our lives, they have more influence than the government really does.
For sure.
But we don't know all these hidden things. You know what I mean? Like we're ruled by the government. We're not ruled by Google.
Absolutely.
And so people like you or other, like the louder voices in this is going like, they're silencing me. They're going to promote the fucking Globe and Mail and these other things, which I found they're already fucking subsidizing. So the government wants to get out of subsidizing and have the people that are using it. And then at this point, they're saying, well, Google is the next step down. And so they're saying, okay, well, we'll make them. It takes Google to fucking come back and say, well, if you do this, this is the consequence. And in my research, I found the same kind of fucking situation happened in Australia.
Yeah.
This bill was made off of the bill that Australia tried to do. Mm-hmm. And they are more isolated than we are. Like we are so influenced by America. Like we find the CRTC thing is like, if we don't have this rule in place, we're going to get overwhelmed by America and America's media content. Mm-hmm. Now the whole world, this is where it gets kind of sketchy. And this is, you know what I mean? Like China and Google and all that stuff is like, we're living in a small community on Google now. We're all here, but we all have our own individual rules. And so how does that get played out in the global community?
Yeah.
And so Australia is coming from a weaker point than we are. They're so isolated and they're so fucking far away from our mainstream, right? Like everything, but they do have their own community or their own fucking society.
Yeah.
So they try to protect that, right? Like the way they deal with Aboriginal, like, you know what I mean? Like they have their own individual issues to deal with. And so when, you know what I mean? Like if you could care less and you don't pay attention to it because it doesn't affect us, but they say, how do we stop overtaking? They have these same kind of content rules so they can promote fucking Australia's and then all of a sudden AC/DC gets popular, or well, that was before all this shit. But somebody can come out of Australia and be good. Like worldwide recognition type of thing. But without that protection, they might get lost in all the overwhelming, you know what I mean, like situation of the world because it's so much bigger.
I get that, but so the C11 bill was basically the same thing for social media, like it's mostly YouTube, right? They did this whole YouTube did a lot of meetings with the government and meetings with YouTube partners and stuff. They were having conversations about what the bill was going to affect and stuff and whatnot. And I felt like that was good because I felt like that was more of an more individualized. It was more realistic, right? Like I can see somebody on YouTube and be like, okay, good. This person deserves a chance because they're Canadian. They deserve a chance to be on an equal playing field as the Americans. We're 10% of the population of them. So like give us a little bit of an even playing field on YouTube. A lot of people want to be YouTubers. It's everyday Joes, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to news conglomerates, which are all owned by two media companies in our country, that rubs me the wrong way.
Yes, it should.
They don't need protecting by the government. They need to be innovative.
I agree with you.
They need to fix their own thing. They have all them. They will own sports teams.
It's like, made me very upset too with my research.
Yeah. So like, I just feel like the government was like really like, they were kind of a little bit overreaching on this point. And like you said, with Australia, it didn't work out.
So this is where I was going to get. Like, so they did it there and they're less consequential, but so they passed a bill, but they've never done anything with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's still whatever was before. Right? Like, and so they listen to them. Like, I don't know what the point is of passing a bill and not like putting the teeth into it or whatever it was. I don't know what hiccups were involved in the middle. Like, I don't know how many voices had to be heard, like what this is doing to us, but those voices are being heard now for here. I do think it's one of these things where like you wake up a bit. It's not like Disney getting woke, but it's like it's like you wake up a bit. It's like holy shit. Like I said, the first thing I saw is like the government. There already is a fucking a prop. Like the government's already propping up media companies.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I'm refused to spend my time to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I already refuse whatever fucking, like, gravel pits they want to fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I feel for the people that don't want it to have there.
Yeah.
It's the same we talk about the ocean. It's like, wow, did you ever think like it was so weird that we wouldn't want to go to the ocean and rather go to space? And who knew it was so big and deep? And the people trying to save it for the past 50 years have been trying to tell us that.
Yeah.
So I could just say this bill doesn't mean anything, but then this local, like this individual who does all this, like it's easier to say for like a tech guy, like the guy that I watch with the Google stuff and all that, and realize, oh my God, this guy has more views than Apple does, and you're like, what? You've never heard of him?
Yeah.
And that's like, yeah, like I don't care enough about that world. For that little bit of time, I was, and I see it's just like, oh my, this guy exists in this realm where if it wasn't freedom of speech, he might have been stifled for some reason.
Yeah.
It could have been nefarious or just like whatever, lost in that. And I don't want to live in that world. I think nobody wants to live in that world. I think we look at this government bill, like this is where I look at it now, just like, why are you doing this? It doesn't seem necessary. And I realize they're just doing it for money. They don't want to pay that fucking media company anymore. They think they're doing it for this CRTC righteous decision.
Yeah.
But like, how do we get out of it?
So who do you think the onus is on? Should the government be paying for this media, or should we or the private community be paying for this media?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like, do we want to pay for people who already have proven on many occasions that they aren't always honest? They're not true, air quotes, everybody, true news, right?
So I'm going to say that I want some of it.
Yes.
When I think of the CBC, I know you don't watch real TV anymore or whatever.
What's
right?
that?
So, but CBC, it's just like would Schitt's Creek or something like that, not that it's important, ever exist if they didn't have a government allowance to be, you know what I mean? Like just to find their, like some kind of subsidized entity, let them produce TV shows because there need to be Canadian content. Like how many shitty shows had to go by the wayside? But you know what I mean? Like some of them are there. I don't watch most of them, right? But like that's allowing artists that really don't make money. You know what I mean? Like eventually, like, you know, once in a while they will. But I don't know how many more people it helps than it hurts.
Yeah.
Like me as the end consumer, I think like Canadian news is better than the cable American network news.
Yeah.
I don't want that to ever change. Like BBC, I think is a government sponsored, like, you know what I mean? I know it's not our country, right? But British, that's like the CBC, right? Like, so there's a certain amount of government, they give them money.
Yeah.
Right? Like they compensate them or whatever, right? And so how much more of that, like, okay, so how biased is it really? Like I think our news is less biased than the American news. I think there's more of an agenda, but how delusional am I in that? I can look at the BBC and say that's like a world organization, but then somebody could come right back at me with receipts and saying like, well, no, they just have this angle that they're saying. And I can just comparing it to something else I know that's way more biased.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these individuals, I think the voices are so many and you can get lost in it. I don't look at it as a protection of the conglomerates. I mean, I think this is more of an old school thought. My first thought is like, I kind of want the old school conglomerates. Like there's not enough, you know what I mean? Like there's too many Alex Joneses that like exploit, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm wrong because I'd rather Alex Jones exist so a good version of him can come out.
I agree. I think they do need to exist, but I just can't get past the fact that they didn't try to keep themselves relevant.
Well, I think it's a bad government decision to put the onus on Google, and then it's up for Google's. Like that's where it becomes a. It needs to be that big for the dissenting voice to listen to. Because if it's just the fucking guy like the that's really good at marketing tech or reviewing tech, and he gets lost in this, nobody's going to care. His 12 million subscribers, as big as that is, and has life-changing like money that is for that person that does that, and how much influence that has in the government's eyes, they don't care.
No, they don't.
They don't care, but they should when we have this conversation. But there's a line out the door of people having their relevant conversations, like about the ocean You know, like, yeah, that's fine, but we're killing all the ocean. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to make the world
That's
explode
not bringing
in 20
us
years.
any money, so don't worry about it.
And that's when people start to hate about like climate change. When you see like this, the Republican side, like, no business, no like human cost. And it's like, well, you know what? They seem to put these climate changes in Germany. You know what I mean? Like they seem to be getting by. Like they got bullet trains. They got things. You know what I mean? Like their society seems to be going okay.
Which sidebar is absolutely insane that we have no bullet trains in North America. That is fucking stupid.
But this is where I'm saying, it's because we have such old infrastructure. It comes to the same thing. So that's what then we'll never get a bullet train with these kind of bills in a media sense.
Yeah.
This makes me look, and I'm just stretching, I think, for analogies, but this is why, because the governments here have been able to stifle innovation. Like, how come planes are the same fucking speed they were in the 1950s? Because there's no incentive for them to make them faster and fucking better. Just like, what can we make money on now? And then
make it more efficient. Use less gas. That's what we got to do.
But the bullet train comes. It's just like it doesn't. It's hard to break that system. And I look at that now in this conversation. It's like, we're never going to get a good version of the Globe and Mail if you subsidize the Globe and Mail all the time.
Yeah.
And if they don't have to worry about the good version of Alex Jones checking them. But like you said, I think it becomes, there is no individual onus on one thing.
Yeah.
It's on all of us.
Yeah.
It's on even fucking people like me to fucking have this conversation with you. It's just like I never would have cared. It's like something that came and gone in the news because the people know I don't watch the news. The news makes me depressed because I know I can't change anything. I don't want to like just brush that off on this thing. Like Google can change this bill, not me. And then I might be able to shout about why I think it's wrong, and I can live in the fear of everything that goes wrong will go wrong, but I don't have to. Like it doesn't, like I'm like you said, I'm smart enough to fucking know what news sources or what's going on. If I want to see something, it's like, yeah, news XYZ. Okay. Enough of you. Oh yeah. Russian RT. That's where it comes another thing.
And like you said, you're smart enough to know if you're looking for local news, you're going to go to Canadian news, right?
Yes.
And the government never gave us the opportunity to show that we know what we're doing. They're just so stuck in the past. And that's going to be a problem for a lot of this shit that's going on, which is why you should shadow people at work.
I already said I would. But where I want to not get off the conversation is this is easier to change than never starting a bullet train. Right? Because
you think so?
Yes, because somebody has to put up this is all thought police. That's where we hate it because you're stifling thoughts. You're stifling free speech. That's the last thing I want to be a part of. Right? But it's kind of already going on. Trains are coming and going. Like I can't ask Via Rail to fucking spend billions of dollars that's something that they'll benefit on or whatever, whole society. Like it's like,
but they
it's too hard to turn around.
But they sure as hell would if they let it happen.
But how much of the German and Japanese bullet trains had to have government intervention to happen? Right? It's just that they looking at it a whole different way because Europe is so small. Like they have these climate change issues or space issues that we don't have. We got all the fucking space in the world.
Look at China.
But that's the same. Well, that's the ultimate.
Yeah.
There's one person deciding if there's a bullet train or not.
That's true.
There's one fucking guy.
Should
we make a fucking city? Yes. Let's make a whole city. Well, how do we get there? We'll make a fucking train.
Should we pass this bill? Yes.
It's somebody talking to themselves, right? Like, so that's but how authoritarian is that? No, you as your fucking disciplinarian, I'm not putting you on spot. There's issues or there's aspects of that you really like. That's the only way to get things done.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's a very real mindset, but it's a dangerous mindset. America wouldn't exist if that mindset was running their thing. The irony is all the times it is actually happening, right? That's what, you know what I mean? Like we get conspiracy theories and all these other things and whatever society, you know what I mean? Like you're not as free as you think you are.
Yeah.
But they really are. You know what I mean? Like these stifling bills aren't happening there like they're happening here. And then that's what I'm saying. Like, so you ultimately need that kind of government fucking intervention. What happens if the government gets all fucking high and mighty about this decision and they say, okay, you know what? Let's turn our attention to bullet trains. Right. And then that's how that happens. Without that happening, then that's the first bullet train will have to be built by the government.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, but we've already lived in a world where they've discontinued the Concorde, right? They already had a better plane. But they just decided, yeah, you know what?
This isn't too
That's
expensive.
Nah.
The government's not going to pay
No,
for
I
this.
got a private jet that's fast enough. Let the fucking plebes
Yeah.
go in that. Because
Yeah.
they ultimately don't care.
Yeah.
They ultimately want to take the best path. And so this affects Google more than, so it affects, the government makes their decision, and now it affects you and me and Google. And then so it's like, it's the onus then becomes on you and me and Google to make it change.
Yeah.
When it happened in Australia, like, so the onus was, okay, this was a bad bill. We're not going to make you do that. The people have spoken. We want Google here. And then so we have Google Australia. And then you go to Australia and obviously go, what the fuck is up with your Google?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, this isn't what came up when I fucking like got on the plane before.
Yeah.
And then so you just adapt to whatever they have. You can still look at it in a negative way, but they're like, oh no, you know, whatever. Like they're in their whole different community. So I think this will probably, my hope is that it will end up getting worked out and it won't be as bad as we think it will be. And you know what? If the people are stupider than you and I to not decipher fake news and not like it's, or if they get caught in the government loophole,
Yeah.
but you also know it's easy to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like you just use DuckDuckGo,
Yeah.
right? Like you, whatever it is, whoever's, but at least, like I said before, like this is where last week I was right. At least it didn't happen in secret, right? At least we get to have this debate.
I mean,
we're
yeah,
having
we
a
could
debate.
talk about it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It gets that like enough people can come together. See, this is such a more righteous idea than this is like if Google was in support of the truckers,
Yeah.
right? Like there's not like I didn't hate everything about it, but most of me would just shut up and go to work, or like, yeah, you have to go across the border. This is what you have to do. Like I have to do it. You have to do whatever it is, right? But I was way more downplaying what I like agreed with. Yeah, protest. Like it's bullshit. Like masks. Like it all turned out to be bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the whole vaccines. Like at least somebody was fucking arguing about it or
You
whatever.
protest. I'm not gonna.
But if Google was behind them, it's like, yeah, if you don't do whatever these truckers say because we think it's 100% right, then we're turning off Google for the whole country. Then somebody would have like, whoa, wait, what?
Mhm.
Right? Oh, you think it's right? So they actually have a seat at the table, like you said. They were sitting at the table for the other bill, and so they do. So it's the government's job to fucking make shitty bills,
Yeah.
and it's up to these. Like I said, at least in China, they just said, yeah, we're having a bullet train. Well, where are you going to put it? Yeah, right through fucking Dredge Road. Well, that's where my kids play. They'll find another place to play.
Exactly.
Right? And not enough people will be affected by it. When Google's affected by it, they shut up and listen. I mean, they might. That's my hope.
Mhm.
My hope is that it's not as negative as it was before, but
Well,
or as we think it could be.
I did think that before. I was hoping that they would make them repeal, rewrite, or something about this bill. But you're talking about Google and you're talking about Meta, which owns Facebook and
I
Instagram.
refuse to call them Meta.
And they own Facebook and
I know.
Instagram. And they are massive companies, and we haven't heard a peep from the government about this. What are they gonna do when the rest of the companies fall in line? When you got the Twitters falling in line, when you got Microsoft and Bing falling in line, like what are they really? Are they? Is it?
Once it comes to their front door, then they'll start to do some
But
more
it
shit.
already is their front door.
But that's the government. That's not. They're never going to act as fast as you want them to. They'll act faster on this than other things.
Yeah,
If it gets to that point before, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's my kind of hope.
yeah.
But even
I'm with you.
even if it gets to that point, I also don't know if it's like something like this has to come to effect where, like, I don't have to even hear Alex Jones. Like, I want to live in the world where I can decipher Alex Jones from the others. And you're talking about like finding the news, but if it's so easy for a fucking and it's never that bad because they're just ideas. Like I want that's it's
Yeah.
like, but if this is where it's not about that. It's just about money. It's
It
about
is,
subsidizing
exactly.
news sources. This is so
Exactly.
it shouldn't fucking happen like that,
Yeah,
right? Like I don't know how that gets changed. Like this is a government's idea of wanting these entities to exist. Really, if they can't, like you were talking, they shouldn't. If they can't stand on their own, they shouldn't exist, right? But if they don't have some kind of thing like this, then we'll never know about any Canadian artists.
Do you want to pay your tax money to the news media?
No. Well, I don't think I do, but I don't know what the consequences if nobody does that.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm trusting, I guess naivete is that I that's why I was looking at it in the CRTC kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I realized it's not quite that. It's more of like I said, it's like they want to stop subsidizing.
Yeah.
And like should farmers be subsidized? Like, are we just going to get American corn? Like, it's still early enough in the summer that the corn at the grocery store is still shitty American corn.
Yeah, but the difference is we have somewhat of a replacement. We have replacement. Social media essentially has replaced news media. So we don't have a replacement for Canadian corn.
So enough people, well, yeah, we do. We have Mexican corn. We have fucking American, and that's the problem. What is on a truck being brought here? The local farms.
Yeah, but they're not going to know anything about Canadian corn. You could have a local news person create a YouTube channel and become popular, and he could be as honest as he could be if you have the most honest person in the world, and have his own news media on YouTube. Go anywhere, go to any streaming services, go do anything, because this is the world that we've let happen. Now anybody can be any sort of a media entertainment type person, and we have that option. And news felt like they were the only option, and that's the problem. We don't need. I don't feel like I do think that we do need a more structured news media, but
no, the problem is
there's a replacement.
The 50-50 that like use social media like you do, and then the world we're talking about, and the 50 that still use legacy.
Yeah.
The power of the 50 that use the legacy is so much more than the power of the 50 that use the new media
right now.
Yes.
That's
right.
The
And
problem.
so it's a blind spot that we see that you don't like, but I don't know how that transition happens smoothly.
It doesn't.
But that's because everybody, like, it's
do
butting heads.
Like this. It's like when I think I've mentioned this, we talked about when I came into the welding industry, I heard that there was just this gap. There was the older welders, and then there was the gap because everybody was going to social media. They were going to tech. They were going to, like, you know, sitting down at the desk. And there was this gap. Nobody was doing trades. And now the trades are starting to come back in. But now in our workplace, we are feeling that
yes.
We can't even hire people because there's nobody.
Well, you talked about it when we're talking about the new weld. They have to make more auto setting, correct?
Exactly.
To make lower like skilled people come in.
Yeah.
And also in that same vein, how much government subsidies are there to try to get young people in the trades?
A lot right now.
Okay, but without that, so that's what I mean. So the government could look at you like that and say, look at what we need to do. Without us, then that gap would never have been like reversed.
Yes.
So it's a thing with hand in hand. It's a thing with the welding companies and the government.
Yep.
I'm not saying they were in that same auto setting conversations, but they both realized the same a problem, and they're coming at it in their own different ways. You could look at a fucking farmer or whatever, like a social media kid, YouTuber that's never worked hard, like physical day in his life, and go, hey, do you think the government should subsidize the welding trade? Pfft, fuck that. They can't do it on their own and let the robots take over. He won't know the nuance of it.
No.
But everybody's so involved in this, in social media, it's laughable for the old legacy to hear them say, well, I don't need that. Fuck it. I got my, city TV news and all that. I'll trust them. Or the worst when it's in the America, when it's, I got Fox. I got CNN. And so you just let that voice be the only voice. You can't change those people's mind. Our industry is changing because the government's involvement.
Partially, yes.
Partially, but
there isn't a direct replacement. That's why they had to step in.
That's a good point.
In the news media, look at what Tucker Carlson did when he left Fox. He went to Twitter. And
have you watched him yet?
I've watched him, and he still has a massive following. Right? So that is a perfect transition as to what news media should have been trying to do somewhat. It may have been, now we would have gone into other problems, like, are we giving Twitter too much problem? Are we too much power? Are we giving Facebook too much power? Are we giving YouTube, Google too much power? That could have been another problem, right?
It can still be.
But at the end of the day, just like the newspaper, the news media is also dying.
So exactly. So that's what.
You can't say. I don't think you can save it. I don't think there is a way to save it.
I don't think so either.
They're grasping at strings.
I think we're watching. Yes. So I don't think this bill is the be all answer of it, but I also don't realize the full extent of the problem.
But our government's stubborn.
So are you.
Yeah, I know.
But that's what you want the China way. Just make fucking decisions. And that's what we laugh at people when they fuck Trudeau, because you think he's the fucking guy, like, in China making the decision. Really? So it's like I said, but like it's very clunky. And even with the fucking Tucker Carlson thing, that's one guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's out of billions of fucking news sources. right? Like, and you could already fucking give or take him right now, right? And but when we talk about it, we just revel in the change of it, like hoping that it can change good. What will it change? We have to. That experiment's going, like, you know what I mean? Like the whole news experiment's still going on, right? Like it depends on how far back you want to even go. There's fucking 2 networks and you got Walter Cronkite and fucking, you know what I mean? All these people. And so how true was that? Like, you know what I mean? Like you long for those days, but like it could have been so easily manipulated.
Yeah.
Like I even brought you, like the Titanic could have been an insurance job. Nobody fucking talks about that in school.
Nope.
Right? But it's only when you've been around for a while and just like, I could see that.
Yeah,
that's smart.
Possible.
That's a good fucking idea.
Yeah.
Right? But like it's not so like that. That idea might have been stifled in 1925. There might have been lots of voices that said it, but they had no social network to do it. And so we forget about how great this whole social network thing. It's why you people, fucking lovely people, listen to us.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not very good. Well, I'm not. Our Twitter's fucking ass. You know, we have these problems.
Oh shit.
But people who are good at it, you know what I mean? Like, again, I don't want them to get lost in the weeds of it, but I think it's a clunky changeover.
Yeah.
It's whole part of this whole Tucker Carlson thing. You know, at least we know where to go to get them. Like the whole part of like the China thing is they just block you from finding it. It's their way or no way.
Yeah.
This way seems like we're going to promote what we want to promote, but we're not going to stifle, you know, it just seems, well, why are you making it harder for me to find? But, you know, it doesn't always have to be like that.
Yeah.
The Australia example is like when they had this problem, they got over it.
Yeah.
And you know, they still have their Google. So I don't think it's the end of the world, but I do think it's a little more nefarious than I did think it was.
Yeah.
It's just a stupid government tax grab.
It is. We'll see how it plays out. I hope it, well, I mean, I don't have high hopes.
Maybe you people, if you stop, if our voices get stifled because
you
of our hate for the government.
No, we're Canadian. We're Canadian media.
Yeah, but not all of our listeners are.
Maybe that'll be a good thing. They will have to put us on the 20%.
That's
on the
what
front
I'm saying.
page.
They'll have to promote that stupid Canadian podcast. Oh my
Yeah.
God. We're all the way down to them.
Exactly.
God, so
yeah.
if once it starts helping us, then we might see a bit of a fucking change, right? How dare you? Hey, you fucking change.
We love Bill C-18.
So I mean, I want to the people up fucking more things, but what was funny, I saw you angry at the car, and last week it was your birthday. It was all good celebrations, but I told the people when we came, we loaded up the boys with some presents before we left.
Yeah.
And I fear that I've turned into one of these people that you hate. Because I'm not putting anybody else on blast, but when we've had conversations about before, I don't know about you and you're just one of the kids or whatever, but you said that like Selena has a friend who always spoils the kids. Yeah. And you hate it. When you were telling me about it, you hate it. I think I've turned into the same person.
No, you haven't.
Well, because me and Tam we had like whatever. We left this place in anarchy.
Yes. Well, the next day they were bringing golf clubs in the car, right? You know what I mean? They're shooting balls in the net. Yeah. It was
You
crazy.
were so pissed with all the things they got to play with.
Where did we go? We were going to the restaurant, my aunt's restaurant in Brampton, and they brought golf clubs. And we're like, what the fuck are you gonna do with that? Like, you think you're gonna putt in the car? Or one time I was sitting on the couch and I turn around and Cyrus walking with all the golf clubs on his shoulder, like he's going golfing. Like
it was the thick of it. We gave him all these fucking random presents and they fucking busted them and there was chaos. And you were fucking you were yelling at them so much. Like when we left, Tam was like, oh my God, he was so mad.
Yeah,
and so I felt guilty in a way. Not really. That's the last word I went. I love giving, like that was fucking $30 worth of things to give them.
They're
they're like you said, you're bringing them the next day.
Yeah.
It's going to encourage more. But I realize you can look at it more negatively, like how much is this going against all of your discipline you give them? You know what I mean? Like you can't stop me and Selena's friend from coming and giving your kids presents when they might not deserve it in your mind.
Oh yeah, they were bad that day, weren't they?
Not in my mind.
Oh yeah,
for you.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They were great for me, giving me hugs.
Yeah.
They draw pictures for us. They appreciate. Who doesn't want to give somebody something that they appreciate?
They do.
So it's fun. So, but I do realize this goes against everything that you stand for.
But I don't think
you have to let it happen.
We have no choice. I don't think you guys overdo it. I mean, it's no.
How nice are you being to me right now? You know that's overdoing it more than you want.
We've seen worse. That's the thing.
Okay, that makes me a little happier.
Like every week type of thing, and that's really bad. But we know at this point, like, oh my gosh.
I mean, that's so you're just giving me the grace.
At
If
least,
you could stop me
yes.
from doing it, you would, but you can't.
No, I mean, I would mention it for sure, but
I do think you think I'm a little bit more like this other person than you want me to be.
I like the kid. No, I think you guys. I think I like the kids. Realizing that there's other people.
Oh, that's nice of you. That's very gracious.
You know what
of
I
you.
mean? Like, it's not just us. So people do care about you guys. Care about your happiness.
That's a good way to put it. All right. Anyway, that was fun. I love leaving your house in chaos like that.
Walking
We've been
out
talking
laughing.
about it.
Hand to the ear.
Bye.
Yeah.
But no presents today.
Yeah.
No fancy
good.
tequila today.
Yep.
No birthdays. Just sad accidents and bad government decisions.
And great episodes.
All right, guys. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for listening.